Welcome back to my video series where I teach you how to fly an FPV, freestyle, racing, acro, drone, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to teach you how to fly it. This video is one in a series. So if it feels like you've dropped in the middle of a conversation, that's why. There is a link in the video description below to the full playlist for the whole series. And if you're looking to learn from the beginning, that's where you should start. But if you're here for the topic of today's video, then let's get into it. So far in this series, we have been practicing going slow and precise. And today we're going to do something that's a little more fun. We're going to finally branch out into some kind of acro freestyle moves. And I always teach people these types of maneuvers, even if they might be planning mostly on doing slower, more precise stuff. Like maybe you're just more interested in cinematic interior flight and you don't think you're ever going to do like big acro moves. It still is valuable to learn these moves for the same reason that like racing car drivers still learn maybe how to drift or something, because you want to learn about how the vehicle performs when it's at the edge of its performance envelope. That makes you a better pilot when you're flying in control, and it makes you better at recovering when you start to lose control. For example, today we're going to be working on flips and rolls, and that looks like this. And you may think, well, that's easy. I don't need to know how to do that. I'll just never do that, and the drone will never be upside down, and it'll be fine. But if you get to flying around and you kind of get out of control, maybe the drone can end up, what do I do? And you need to be able to level it back out again and get yourself back under control. So whether you decide that you want to do freestyle or not, I hope you follow along with this lesson. And what we're going to do is very, very simple. We're going to raise throttle and climb to, let's say, maybe twice the level of the trees. And then we're going to do a roll. And at first, a roll seems very simple. We just move the roll stick all the way to the side, and we do a roll. 360 degrees. We just stop when the horizon is more or less right side up again, and we're done. But there's a little more to a roll than that. And the first thing I want you to know about a roll is that whenever the quadcopter is inverted, you want to be off the throttle. The throttle wants to be all the way down. And the reason for that should be intuitively obvious, that when you turn upside down, if the throttle is raised, you are pulling yourself down towards the ground and you are going to crash. So when we do a roll, the first thing we're going to do is lower the throttle. Don't do it as violently as that. I just was exaggerating. And the second thing we're going to do is do the roll. It's going to look like this. And then throttle back up to catch yourself. Take off, throttle down, roll, and throttle back up to catch yourself. Our goal will be to have the roll be a perfect 360 degrees. Now, if I had a lot of practice in the simulator with these exact rates, or if I was flying one of my quadcopters that I'm very in tune with how it moves, I could just go and just boom, hit the exact 360. But the rates on this quadcopter are a little different than the one I fly with, and I'm not quite dialed in yet to how fast it moves. I'm starting to get it. There we go. That was a nice, perfect 360, almost perfect 360. At the end, I was dead on. There we go. I'm starting to get it dialed in. If you are able to get it dialed in, that's great. But your goal is going to be to start the roll with the horizon perfectly level and end the roll with the horizon perfectly level. If you overshoot or undershoot, just make a small correction at the end. Another thing you can do is you can slow the move down at the end by moving the stick a little bit off full deflection. And you can sometimes, and now some people don't like the way that looks. Like, that was great. It looks so controlled and precise, right? But it can be cleaner to kind of slow it down in the middle. Or maybe even just do it slower. There's no reason you have to go to full deflection. You can just do it slower if you want to, as long as you have enough time that you don't hit the ground. So you're going to get enough altitude, and you're going to do some rolls. You're going to work on getting those rolls as close to a perfect 360. Come on, Jeff. There, that was a nice one. Pretty close. And you see, I'm not really even worried about drifting very much. Right, because there's nothing for me to crash into. I'm just kind of, if you need to reset, you can. And make sure you're going left and right. Always do your moves left and right. Most people are more comfortable to one side than the other, and then they tend to practice that side, and then that side gets better and the other side is less comfortable, and it sort of is a self-reinforcing prophecy. And so make sure you're working left and right. Always make sure you're lowering that throttle all the way down. Another thing you're going to see is that if you jerk the throttle like I'm doing, you can actually input some yaw, and you don't want to do that. So take a look at the bottom of the screen if you need to. And if you're doing that, try to feel that you're doing that, and don't do that. Move the throttle slower if you need to. The next exercise I'd like you to do today is an exercise to get you comfortable with being upside down. So what you're going to do is you're going to punch out, and you're going to turn over upside down, and you're going to just fall. And then before you hit the ground, you're going to turn around again and raise throttle and catch yourself. Climb, invert with throttle down and fall, and then turn over and fly away. And if you try to do this in real life, you'll notice that the drone seems to fall a lot slower in the simulator than in real life. People say the simulator feels floaty, and the throttle and the gravity doesn't feel right. It seems like you have a lot more float time or fall time in the simulator than you do in real life. Whether that's true or not is a topic that I think I'm not going to get into right now. The simulator manufacturers swear that the gravity is accurate, but there's a lot of different ways that could be right or wrong. But when you do this in real life, be aware that you will have a lot less, or it'll feel like you have a lot less float time than you do when you do it in the simulator. But I just want you to get comfortable with being upside down and knowing that you can turn back over again whenever you need to. That's not a scary position to be in, because anytime you want, you can turn back over. In fact, you could play a game with yourself where you invert and then wait as long as you can before turning back over and catching yourself with the throttle, and don't hit the ground. And that's going to happen to you in real life, because you're going to be flying and you're going to be doing something awesome, and all of a sudden a tree is going to be underneath you and you'll need to flip back over and catch yourself before you crash into the tree or something like that. This is something that definitely happens. Take off, invert, float if you want to. Oh, I tapped the ground in there. And that's what we're going to work on today. Throttle down, roll, try to hit a perfect 360, either by doing it slowly, boom, 360, or by doing it quickly if you can get the timing right, which you can see I'm still, I have muscle memory from my, there it was, I have muscle memory from my drone, and it spins at I have faster rates on my drone, so it spins faster. And float inverted. And I want you to do these things not just from a flat hover, but moving forward. So, maybe start like the box drill that we did, where you fly around and follow the fence, okay? And then as you're flying up the fence line, you'll punch out and get high and invert. And come back around again and continue. Oh, that's a great drill. We'll use that as our sort of final exam for today. We're going to follow the fence, doing the box drill just like we did. And we're going to punch out and invert. And as we fall down, we can turn back over again, get back on the fence. And here we go. Punch out, invert. And turn back over and continue the fence. launch over this tree. This is going to be amazing. Oh, there's another tree. I better roll back over and fly over it. Yes. And this tree is just in the corner. Gently invert. And come back down. That's going to do it for today. I will see you in the next one.